Hello, everybody. I'm Renae and Mussachio here with the marvelous Tracy Melhado. And this is our first episode of the Let's Go talk show. Like, how exciting! This is a safe place to, to ask questions, do whatever. We want you to be a piece and a part of our conversations. So make sure that you're writing down your questions. You can ask the generalized questions that are helping humanity because we are here to expand the consciousness and expand our lives, our existences, and really sort of force us to really live in the now in a very easy, effortless way. As much as that is, right?
So we hope.
Exactly. So everything is a blank canvas, and we're going to be plugging in to the unknown and channeling in things. And Tracy's always been writing about wonderful things that are, she goes through them years before we actually come into this consciousness and in our realm and our reality. So I love that aspect where she brings that whole thing to us. And her books are amazing. I'll have the link in there as well. So let's get started on this transformative conversation. And if you like the conversation, don't forget, hit subscribe, hit like, ask your questions or your comments, whatever it is. We're open, we're ready to rock and roll, and let's go.
Let's go. I just want to touch base on already a couple of amazing things that Renae said. One is I'm going to say that Renae and I we learn so much through conversation. And I think that is such a key piece right now is just to be in conversation and learn through speaking and kind of pinging off each other. And Renae and I off screen joke of how I had an old painting on my wall and it was just time for it to go. And I just put up a blank one. And we were joking how life, if you allow it, is always giving you fun and examples of great concepts. So, blank canvas, we're plugging in. Ooh, that's hard to do.
I know.
So, have fun, right? Renae and I have such a grand time talking to each other. Our minds get expanded every time in the most magical ways. So, yeah, jump in with us because it's so fun and there's so much to discover.
Absolutely. And that's what like you said, that's what I love about our conversations. And to know that the little things in life, there's always such great messages. Just like when Tracy just said, we have this, painting, and then all of a sudden I put up this blank canvas. And isn't that what life is? This blank canvas where we're now plugging into a whole new consciousness. That's what this energy is. So that's why, to me, that was like so perfect that she had that, and to actually say, "Oh my God, don't you see why this is it?" And then she does the same thing for me because I was sharing with her the other day. I could not, for the life of me that day, park in between the parking lines in a parking lot. Like, we went to like 3 or 4 different places. I could not park in the lines. And I thought I was in the lines. That was the funny thing. So I'm sharing that story with Tracy. And doesn't she say, go ahead, Trace, go.
I was saying I was just writing about that, how all the lines are blurring. And isn't that amazing? Like, what a fascinating opportunity for us to get outside of the box, see outside of the lines, think it more expansively. Whereas, and I'm just going to claim it for Renae and I, we are so great about owning our limited thinking and we'll tell stories. And each one of us will kind of show the other perspective. So it's so great to, the human experience can just be like, oh my gosh, I cannot stay in these lines. And then the greater perspective is, and isn't that awesome? You don't have to stay in the lines anymore. So, and then we do get into wacky examples because I think I was telling Renae how I have a cat that passed a little while ago, and I can see that cat's personality in my cat that's living in my house now, and how these lines are blurring. So we go way out there of potentialities of what this could mean, which to me is exciting and it's fun.
Absolutely. And like you said, I love that whole part. So I want people to start to just look at things like if you can't park in the lines, and believe me, by the way, I actually backed up and went back in and I still was outside the lines. Still in the outside. So expand your thought process, your thinking that when something happens, don't start to beat yourself up. Don't start, oh my God, why can't I do that? I mean, and what was hysterical that day was, and I think I said that to you, Tracy, like that day was so hysterical for me. Everything was funny. I mean, my husband and I were laughing our asses off. That was like, oh my God, you cannot get in that line to save your life. Like, it's just so funny. Where, maybe 6 months ago, maybe even a month ago, I would have been like, oh my God, what is wrong with me? Why can't I do that? Oh my God, is the car going to get dinged? Blah, blah. Like all of that stuff. When things happen, really step back and ask yourself, okay, what's the bigger picture here? Or what's really going on? Because there always is, especially now, exactly what Tracy said. The lines are being blurred. There are to be, how they're saying it right now is there are to be no lines. We are infinite possibilities. It's time to stop looking at all the crazy things out there in the world and talking about those and come within and start to focus on this moment of now, because this moment of now is perfect and it's wonderful and exciting and it holds everything. But that's also getting rid of the actual human mind. Stop thinking things, come back into the now. That makes sense?
Absolutely. And Renae and I touched on this a little bit, and I was getting, life is always encouraging you to be alive, to be present, to live, because I'm sure we all can agree that a lot of times we get caught in the coulda, shouldas, the past, the future. We're always bringing in the past. Well, what's going to be? But, again, to that right now, be present in the now, be alive in the now. And that's tricky. I am fully the first to admit that's such a tricky concept to really, you can understand it but to actuate it, because all the factors, well, the clock, and I'm this, and I have responsibilities. But it's less tricky if you start to really watch how life is presenting around you, to just like Renae said, in the parking lines, don't get frustrated. What am I meant to see here? And I had two really cool examples come in. One, I do write books. I think I have like 5 out now. And what I realized was my own progression through the books, where years ago, I started in 2014. I keep being given the same now moment with a more expansive view. And I'm delighted that I actually could see. I'm looking at my own stuff, right? Like the message is look at your own shit, people, and have fun with it and see your progression and encourage yourself to have that more expanded view. And I was really like, wow. So I'm looking at the same now moment over and over again through the years, but I see it bigger. I see it more expansive. I just see more, which gives me access to more, which allows me to see more, which lets me, there's all the signs dropping in my life that's like, hey, look at this. And then right away, I was given another example. I'm working in a computer. So this is going to hopefully be a more approachable example. I was putting photos in a website, and I realized the same photo. So that photo was taken in a live now moment, documented on technology. I have it saved in Google Photos, in iCloud Photos. I have it saved, edited in this folder. I have it saved on the website folder, edited another way. So do you see how it's the same now moment, and it lives per se, or it's presented per se in multiple different areas of the same now moment? But it's expanded, it's edited, it has progressed, it is, more expansively made its imprint on the unified field. Did I go? So just a real life example of, wow, right there in front of me. Look at that. One now moment expressed in a multitude of places.
Yeah. And if you feel that, even as you were describing it, if you feel that, you could feel, like as you were talking about, like, oh, it's saved here, you could feel the difference in the energy. So if you're not feeling that difference, I want you to just, people like everybody listening, just stop for a second. If you've got to rewind it and listen to that again, do that. But stop for a second and just feel it. Just feel the energy of her talking about it. And you'll feel that little bit of expansion, because even as I'm saying this right now, I'm getting like chills like up here, because I can feel like something expanding a little more. So it's starting to recognize that every conversation that you have, everything, every experience that you have is an opportunity to expand your consciousness, to move beyond what we have been in. Right now, there's this energy in this field of people are regurgitating the same fears, the same worries, the same concerns. Well, isn't that really sort of forcing you, hey, people, you're not really an infinite possibilities person. You can't really, fly and expand and transport yourself and do all the things that really we can. You can't really do that because we have you focused on this stuff, on these fears. Tracy and I are asking you to step outside of that the best you can and expand, because it's exactly what Tracy said. When you go back in a book that you may have read a year ago, that you even read a month ago, and you reread it, there's always another something that comes forth. You're continually expanding. And I don't even think we really realize that. Like, Tracy was talking about, and I'll have you talk about that again, Tracy, because it was amazing. The magnetics, the electromagnetic field, and all of that stuff. And when you were saying that, I started to incorporate that into my life, and oh my God, it's so different. So I'll have you talk about that now, if you know what the hell I'm talking about. Because sometimes we're like, boom, 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 we're like jumping all over, as you can tell.
Right. Oh, that was last week. That was last minute. So yeah, I see things a lot in like magnetics, coding algorithms. I'm sure everyone, if you're listening to this, is pretty familiar with all that languaging. But it was a couple weeks ago that I saw a very palpable shift. And this is why I love being in conversation with Renae, because sometimes I don't know, is it just for me? Is it for the collective? Is this happening for everyone? And again, with the kind of concepts that I still find, well, we all are one. So if it is happening with me, of course, it's happening for everyone at the level that they can see, acknowledge, incorporate. But yes, it is everyone. And, as we know, the more we actuate these energies and these expansions, they become more available and more easily accessible for everyone else. So it's a pretty cool phenomenon. But I was kind of shown that, we're all electromagnetic beings, and that there is this availability now, that this magnetic of pure source of I love the word purity, divinity, freedom, all these words that are out there. But if we keep our magnetic here in that pure state form, that we, by default, if anyone's played with a big matic, we repel energetics that are not going to be serving us. And we attract people, places, and things that are in our best interest for our highest trajectory, serving to let us see and be more. And when you kind of start playing with this, you'll catch yourself with your magnetic, I say, back to the old way. So it's potentially not, it doesn't have that clear field of resonance. You flip it, and again, you're repelling things that are not in your best interest, not what you desire, not for your highest good, and attracting things that are. So, and it's true. Once you start, I'm going to be the first to admit, sometimes my head will spiral and I'd be like, there you go again. Like, are you done? All right. You're going down that road, and I'll flip it, and it'll kind of just bring you right back to like your sense, like it knocks sense and back into you. So super cool to play with.
Yeah, I love it. And I love that whole thing of like the magnet, because that was such a, when you were saying that, like, when we were like a couple weeks ago, we were talking about that, right? And, the magnet and how they repel each other. That visual is always in my mind now. So when all of a sudden I was starting to go through something, or even someone in my family was going through something, and I was like, oh, this is really causing, a lot of strife there, or whatever. I was like, okay, well, let's flip the script. Because to me, when I say that, it's literally like, okay, let's flip the magnet, because we want to now repel that. Let's put that away and let's now attract. And I am telling you, Tracy, that was like gold, because I started to do that. Like even with, I started to, and I think we talked about this. I was sick. I ate something and I was throwing up, whatever. And I was like, well, wait a minute, wait a minute. Why would I do that? And you helped me bring that awareness around. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Why would I? Why would I have this? This is just, this doesn't have to be. So I flipped the script. It was really crazy interesting how all the nauseous and everything that I was feeling was just like gone within minutes. Like it was wild. And then just in the morning, when I wake up, I'm like, okay, everything. I've always had this ability for what I don't know. I think because when I work with people, I would, be saying things to them, and I would be asking the healers and everybody, like, okay, let's flip forward. Let's go forward and let me see how this works out for them. Is the highest and best good for them, or what? And I always go by what their higher self and all that is saying. So I think that might be why, but I really don't know. So I'd be like, okay, let's project forward on the day, which I never did before for me. Like that's good. Project forward for the day. And on the day, I would I could feel some anxiousness or some weirdness in my body. And I was like, okay, no, let's flip the script on that. And I would feel something shift in my body. And then all of a sudden my whole system just calmed right down. And I was like, okay. And sure enough, that whole day would go awesome. And if something wasn't, or I'd be talking to somebody, I would be thinking, and I didn't even realize this, I would be thinking, oh, well, let's just flip the script for them if that's in the highest and best good. And then all of a sudden I would see their system like flip it over. And what was really crazy cool, and I'm just now realizing this talking about it, they would take a big breath, like as they were talking, or I would hear them go, which usually is that energetic thing of, okay, look at something just shifted within you. So also pay attention to that aspect. When you're taking those breaths, something is going on. There's so many things happening day to day in all of our experiences that we're not used to paying attention to. So, and we're telling you these things because we really want you to put them into effect, really start to really work with these things. And Tracy and I were saying before we started, we have no idea how long the episodes are going to be, because it just is what it's going to be. And then they'll end where they're supposed to end. And we don't know when we're going to post again, because we need you to put these things into effect. Ask us the questions, put them into the chat, send email, whatever it is, because eventually what we're going to start to do is have people, because we're recording this on Zoom. So eventually what we'll do is have people join in and ask their questions, and then, post that point. But you have to really start to incorporate these things. It's not like my page where I'm like, okay, I record once every 2 months. It's going to be more frequent. So that's why it's important to hit the like, put the bell on, so that you're actually getting notified when we post things. And then, because we'll be posting as well when, okay, hey, here's the Zoom link to join us on this day at this time to ask your questions or whatever. But anyway, it's that whole aspect of really paying attention, recognizing and realizing. And I'm going to give a shameless plug here, because Tracy, your books, I've got all of her books, and I'm telling you, I will just randomly open it up to, okay, what do I need to hear today? And I'm telling you, it's always spot on. And if I take the time to stop and breathe, and meaning I just take one big deep breath, exhale out, and I literally will hold it to my chest, which goes right to what you were saying with the magnetics, right? Hold it to my chest. I will feel it integrating into my system. When I have them on the side of my bed, or I'm drawn to put it under my pillow, I feel it shifting and changing, which, not to continue to hog this whole thing, but reminded me when I say that about the chest. How many of you test that, and do I need to take this today or whatever in your test? I started to practice with that, Tracy, after we had that conversation. And I would, because I have this little group of stuff that I would, okay, some high specific good to take this morning, blah, blah. And I realized that even before it gets here, because I would always test it and I'd bring it here. Well, first I started testing like, this way, or my body just show me yeah, show me no. And I would just look at it. Do I need this? Well, I started to test it. We're bringing it to me right before Tracy, you had told me that whole thing about the magnetics and holding it here. I noticed when I get here and I can feel my body repelling it because it's the magnetic field saying, no, 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 this isn't. And even if you flip the script, your body is going to tell you what you need. And that's an important part. And let's talk about that. The body speaking to speaking to the cats always are so aware. It's
no, what do you want, buddy? Sorry.
So at that point now, I will actually go to grab it and I can feel my body either pushing back or going forward, because the more you're doing it, the more you're allowing your body and your consciousness to come forward and to expand into a whole new realm of reality, into a whole new aspect. And now I just open the cupboard and it's like a magnet drawing me to which one, because I put my hand out and all of a sudden I pick it up and it's like, yes, or if I'm touching the wrong one, I feel myself, going back. So it really is amazing when you start to play with this and you ask your body. And Tracy, you gave me this one because remember you said you were doing that, just like keeps popping in on the corner. So cute.
Goodness.
When you
see, no dogs, they don't do that. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, they just lay in their little beds down there. They'll bark every now and then. But when you were saying like, okay, body, but because you're so good at listening to your body. And I used to always be like years ago, I was like, I don't know, this is a vessel to get me from point A to point B. Don't care. And I was always in that other realm until all of a sudden you get sick and like, oh shit, I got to take this physical form with me. All right, got to pay attention. So if you could share with us how you work with your body and you're asking questions and doing things, because I will say this, you look, because when we were doing the When Pigs Fly, and I really hadn't seen you in a while because we were always on the phone and stuff, but you look so much younger, like everything about you. So what are you doing, girl?
Awesome, thanks. And I'm just gonna say, because I just am speaker of truth always, because when we did When Pigs Fly, I was like, oh, I forgot, like I put a book underneath it. You know how like there's all the things to set up your camera?
Yes.
And here's me. I'd like to show up cold, like, okay. So even more thanks, because I didn't do, how you can do the screen, whatever. So thank you. But also raw and real, as always, Renae and I. A couple things I just became aware to like really have an open conversation with my body. And I'm just going to keep expressing this because I think it is so valid through Renae and I's conversation, because you always educate me. Oh my goodness. Hold. This is life. Toby's tail just went over my candle.
Oh.
Burnt it. Hold on.
We don't edit, so you get to see the real thing, because you know what? This is life. I don't want you to think that, oh my God, our lives are so perfect. No.
And like the burning, the burning hair smell?
Yeah.
Filling my room. And I'm like, all right, let's just ignite a little of that. Let's get a little fire in do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, let's transmute some of that. Okay.
All the elements are coming into play, and we're burning up the old energetic field, they're saying. Toby, for helping us.
I'm telling you, this is not normal behavior. So the animals, the elements, they're all here with us today.
Yep.
Okay. So back to the conversation. Renae, actually, we educate each other, and I got really into like red light and PEMF and all these things. And, Renae would say, you don't need any of that. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, I don't, like, right? Because everything is within. So I started really just like talking to my body, like as if, it is, your body has its own consciousness. So it's a weird concept to think of you and your body as different, different beings, different essences. It's a very interesting thing to play with and kind of be in conversation. Well, what do you need? Well, did you like that? And the answers you'll get are great. And back to the testing of what we need and what we don't, what I found is I flipped my script. We're always flipping our script. What do I want my reality to be? And it's progressing. So what it was yesterday is potentially not what it is today. Your reality is always changing, especially if you're, pushing in that direction. So instead of me saying, ooh, I should do my red light therapy because it helps regenerate my cells, and I'm, trying to transform my body into the next level of, higher essence, to deciding it's like, who do I want to play with today? I don't need anything because everything is within us. We are the technology. But in my journey to fully expand all of that, who do I want to collaborate with today? What energies do I want to be in a dance with? And then it becomes really cool. And when you reframe everything like, oh, I need to take vitamin D because someone in my house is getting sick, so I want to boost my immune system, it's a whole different languaging and reality of, hey, body, what are you feeling? Like, what do you need? And sometimes we don't need anything. What are you talking about? We're solid. We're good. We're whole. You know that. Or, yeah, let's play today. Let's, put some vitamin D in our water and jump in the sauna. Oh, that sounds great, And I think I'm going to keep expressing play and fun and conversation, which I always joke. I say to Renae, I'm just our biggest fan. Like I love listening to Renae and I talk. Imagine that. Because it really, I just get shown so many fascinating things and it's fun. So did I go totally off topic?
Oh,
Who knows? Get a burning tail, no candle. We're really packing it in this first episode.
see, that's what I'm saying. You got to really take this in and start to put stuff into effect. And I love when you said, who do I want to collaborate with today? Because, we tap into, and I say tap in, the truth of the matter is these energy beings are all around us. They've been helping us for centuries to, wake up, get out of the old programming, whatever. Well, now in this energy, how they've been saying is the light has won, and everything's transforming. Everything is this whole transformation within the world. They keep promising this is a very good, wonderful thing that's happening because we are getting beyond the control from everything else. And we are now starting to remember what we can do, which goes back to you saying, well, I had to write myself a note. So I'm like, I know I'm gonna forget. When you're doing, when Tracy's doing the red light therapy or whatever. So if you guys are doing anything, that's all you're really doing is reminding your body because that version has shut off. Okay, so if you're drawn to, okay, I'm testing or whatever, and this is in my highest and best good to buy this thing, because it's probably you're trying to remind your body, hey, body, this is how we do things. This is what we do. Because then there's a point where all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I haven't used that in forever. It was so expensive, but I haven't used that in forever because your body remembered how to do it. You might not have recognized that. So whenever you're doing anything, and I started to do this just literally a couple of days ago, where I would take something, I think it was a vitamin C. I took a vitamin C and I was like, okay, body, like, you know how to bring that up. We don't need to take these things. And what was really interesting was on some of the things that I would take, I would hold it in because I would get, I'd get that draw, right? So then I would be, well, how many of these do I need? Because now I started to get into my head, if you notice. It's not, I know what I need. I know how much I need to take. And I started to, oh no, I really got to like listen to my body. It's got to let it tell me. Well, that's not you listening to your body then. That's your mind involved, connecting you and like, well, wait, the control part. Where if you're just stopping, because then when I stopped and I held it, I could feel my whole body I don't know, take something, man. It was like almost like this tingling thing. And then I got that, okay, we're all set. We don't need that now because it infused what it needed. I've been finally communicating with the body long enough that, which believe it or not, has not been a ton of time. So, and everybody's going to be different. So you might all of a sudden start to do that and be like, oh my God, I just infused this into my body. I just started working my body today. Or you may be questioning or doubting and take a little while. But anyway, like it infused whatever it was in that bottle, it infused into my body. I didn't need the actual pill to take the pill or whatever. But I also now flipping over to, and this is how Tracy and I talk because we're like
all over the place.
So hopefully you're following. So in that collaboration, we have all these beings with us that are helping us. Collaborate with them. You might not recognize you're getting signs or you're getting direction, but when you stop and you live in that moment of now, you will recognize, you will realize that, oh my God, I really am. I really am. It sort of brings me into that. I keep seeing the visual of Jim Carrey. I don't remember the movie, but Jim Carrey is like, God, will you just give me a sign? And there's this huge truck in front of him with all these like signs, the yield, the stop, the whatever, all signs. They're like, God, get this truck, get out of the way. I just give me a sign. So all those type of things that are here. And I love, Tracy, that you do that whole thing of like, okay, who do I want to collaborate with today? And what's my day going to be like today? The more you do that, the more you'll recognize you are in control because we are. We have total control of how our day is. And I know there's shitty things that happen and we don't want to take responsibility for that, but start to own it. So, okay, I created that. Clearly it was for some reason, but now I'm going to flip the switch. Now I'm going to re-magnetize or whatever, however you want to say it. It's not a right way, not a wrong way. It's your intention that's going to bring that forward. Start to play with it. See what starts to happen in your life. Because I'm telling you, it's been amazing since I've been doing this the last couple of weeks, since when you first told me, Trace. Like, it's crazy cool. What do you got, girl?
Well, I would agree. Like you, and first of all, before I even say this, I think that the energies are so much more available and quick. And I probably said that 6 months ago, but it even more so. Like I'm fascinated and surprised how quickly, and I love that Renae and I talk often because we're such a reflection of, first of all, I don't have this conversation with many people. So Renae is she'll engage with me, right? But it really is fascinating how quick your reality will respond to what you're putting out. And that's we are creating our reality. So the response time is a lot quicker, which is so cool. Good and bad, so keep those thoughts as pure as you can. But also remember that we are the creators. So and this applies to everything in life, but when you were talking, this came up that we are whole. We know this. We are these magnificent beings that are so perfect, so whole, so miraculous. We're just figuring out how to get back there. So I have done, well, okay, on my journey of exploration and experience, because we're here to experience life. Like if we were just like this amazing, perfect being of pure everything, how freaking boring. Like really, we are meant to experience life. That's why we're here. So if we're on this journey back to our wholeness, I decided that I don't want to have to purchase a bunch of things and swallow a bunch of things. So on my journey, I'm like, I'm going to totally flip my script. I'm going to create my reality of I'm going to use light, sound, and frequencies. Because for me, they're fascinating. I don't want to buy a bunch of supplements. I don't want to be on a program that I got to, buy a probiotic every month. So it's fun to start to entertain that is a reality and a possibility. And just like you said, Renae, you're just reminding your body. So do what is most enjoyable, accessible, approachable for you to bring that remembrance back online. And, and then don't try not to get discouraged, right? But I would say, Renae, you and I can flip things really quickly, not only for ourselves, but we've been practicing on our family. And I love that we are just so honest and raw. Like we'll come to the table with oh my gosh. And then we're like, wait a minute. No, that is not, whatever. Oh gosh, someone's getting cold and we're about to go on a trip. And it's like, why would you even go down that route of thinking? No, let's just invoke wholeness and there we go. Let's go. Let's go.
Exactly. Well, what's interesting is you were saying that, and I was getting the message like have people tap into the elemental energy and the old frequencies. Now, when they're saying old frequencies, and they're saying this will automatically happen when you tap into the elemental energy, the old frequencies is of ancient times before we grew and expanded into whom what we are. And they're showing what looked like the cave times, like cavemen, because it seems like this huge dinosaur. I'm like, okay, yeah, don't want to be tapping into that stuff. I don't want a dinosaur coming, but I say no, it's an energy. It's a whole pure energy because they were tapping into an energetic field, or not tapping into. They were an energetic field and a frequency that was, oh, we need whatever. They're showing me a pyramid, so I'm going to say a pyramid. It's okay. Oh, we need a pyramid. Okay, we're going to use all the energetics to create this pyramid. That'd be cool if that's how they were created, right? Like, wow. Okay, so wow, that really sort of has me like, wait a minute.
But can we just, because they didn't have engineers and architect and CAD programs. So really think about that. How did they, where nowadays you have to have you got to, like I just said, all the professionals and all of the computer software. What did they do thousands of years ago?
Right. Yeah. So interesting because they're saying they knew how to use the frequencies and the energy and all the energetics of the earth, of all the elements. Thus, they're saying the elemental energy, right? And all the elements to create and be who they were. And now they're saying when we're tapped into that, because they're showing, and I'm getting a chill down my spine, they're showing the cabinet, they're saying what's going to happen is you're being that frequency for a little bit, then you're going to go back even more. Because they're saying it's just a conscious thing. And they say you only need 144,000 people to shift the entire consciousness. So they're saying I'm getting a whole body chill. I'm breathing now. So it's that point of when we continue to grow and expand, we're going to recognize that everything that we're experiencing in this time of now really is just a delusional energy field that we were, and they're putting to mind, that we were thought and we were taught this is what it is. They're saying we're stepping out. It's time now to step out of all of that and go back into the energetics of truth. And they're saying when you're doing that, you will start to recognize and realize, and they're giving us, a warning so that if you're used to, I'm diving into whatever, the news, or this person is always, I'm there for this person who's complaining about whatever, you're going to have to start to be removed from that. And not that you will do that consciously, it's an unconscious thing. As you're expanding your consciousness, automatically, and I'm sure you've all felt this before, as you're expanding and growing and coming back into you, people just fall out of the wayside. All of a sudden, oh my God, I haven't talked to that person in forever, whatever. That's because you don't vibrate with them. The frequency is different. And as that's happening, it's all about your growth, you moving forward. And the same, and you will continue to grow and expand. And it will be exactly what you said. It's always that, Tracy, with you and I, it's always that full circle moment. At the beginning, it's that moment of now, it's here, and then you're expanding more, and it's here. It's here. Like every day, you'll have that opportunity to recognize. And I said, if you don't recognize it, that's okay. But you'll have that opportunity to recognize, oh my God, we're really expanding more, because then all of those people will start to gravitate to you because, right, the frequencies and everybody, because what they're saying is around the world, we will have this consciousness that is shifted because as everybody's communicating, right, you're putting the energy out into what they're calling the frequency field. They're putting the energy out into the frequency field, which melds and vibrates. And they show it like, it's like really coming together. And then all of a sudden solidifies and just becomes. And that's where that whole consciousness shifts and changes. So saying as that happens, there are people around the world doing that. So we have not for a while. We have not, Tracy, you and I have talked about this. We have not been doing things for just ourselves for a while now, right? So as you're doing something, you're connecting with what they're referring to as a counterpart, an energetic counterpart around the world. And they're showing it going this way and this way. So that energy and that field then starts to circle around that and this, and then it fills in those empty spaces. And that's going to shift and change the consciousness for everyone and everything. And we're going to recognize, and Tracy, you and I have talked about by the end of this year, we're going to say, we're going to be looking and being like, oh my God, how did we get here so fast? Because everybody's waking up. The light, I don't really know what that means, but you're saying the light has won. The light has won, and everything is being flipped over. So do your best not to focus on complaining or listening to those complaints or buying into the fear, because that's just trying to keep you in an old energetic field of control. They're saying, do your best to say, okay, wait a minute. I see this. I'm hearing about this. I don't like it. But what is my reality? Flip the script. What is my reality like? What am I magnetizing for myself? But you're also magnetizing it for the world. It's not just us. We're not just doing it for us. Like, how crazy cool is that? Like when they say these things, I'm like, oh my God, that's so wild.
You always do that. Okay. And can I add in there?
Yeah.
So when you were saying that, and this is a big one for me, and I think this might be helpful for everyone too. Not only just the news and all the systems and all that is going to break away. And I don't mean it lightly, but I kind of think that is old news to me. Well, of course that's going to happen. And don't we want it to? And I understand that's still kind of scary for people. However, also, everything is just dialogue. And I'm going to use astrology because right now, and I do believe, I don't know enough to speak to it eloquently, but the end of the Kali Yuga, which is something like a 12,000 year era of darkness. So that ended yesterday. And I find it so ironic. We're taping today.
Right.
So the light has won. I believe this is day one in a new era of light. And I don't quote me on any of this, but also all this stuff's happening astrologically, these eclipses and equinox, and we're right in the middle of three. Again, I think we had an eclipse and equinox, and then there's maybe another eclipse on the 29th. So these things are fascinating to me, but again, they're just dialogue, which I don't get too trapped in that. I'm like, oh, that's cool. According to that dialogue, look how Renae and I positioned ourselves right in the middle. And it does come in. So I'm kind of like, oh, really? Oh my God, we're so brilliant. We're taping this on the first day, fresh out of the Kali Yuga era, like the first day of brightness after dark ages for 12,000. We're so smart, Renae. But really, it's kind of like, yeah, whatever, girls, think you're so brilliant. But that again is just a concept. It's a dialogue. It's all right now. And I know there's incredibly fascinating things happen in astrology, like mind blowing. And there are, but again, when you go to that unified field of everything, even those concepts, I don't know, I keep saying the word, it's just dialogue. It's just a concept. There's nothing concrete because it all blurs into one. It's that I'm just, when you were talking, this is how it works. Renae talks and I'm like, oh, really? Oh my God, that's fascinating. She's talking, I'm watching out here. And then we start to go like this. Okay, we're done. Like, I'm saturated. I'm out. So on that, I would love if people listen to it a few times and even shot, questions like, what in the world were you saying? Can you guys say that another way? Because I guarantee you, Renae and I could talk about the same topic matter 10 different ways, with 10 different perspectives, with 10 different viewpoints, right? And that's how I feel like we learn. Like, we'll keep talking about the same concept. We'll look at it this way. We'll now look at it this way. Let's turn it this way.
Right.
Which is so fun.
Yep. And I love that you said about dialogue, because they were saying, as you were saying that, Yes, that's exactly all this is. There's a million different ways to look at it, which you just, but there's a million different ways to look at it. And you had said something, we were talking probably a month or so ago, maybe longer. And you would say something like, oh, that's an interesting way to look at that. Every single thing, every single person out there talking, it's what resonates with you. Never discard anything. If it doesn't resonate with you, okay, let it go. Move on. But what I love, because like I'll hear things, I'm like, oh, that's an interesting way to think about it. And I think about that for myself too. Like I'll get a message and I'm like, oh, well, isn't that an interesting way to look at it? Like, I wonder if there's another way to look at it, which, goes through things. So it's that point, and then they'll show me something else. I'm like, oh, because what they've said is everybody is talking about the same thing using different wording. We're all going to be at the same place. Doesn't matter. They're saying everybody's evolving. And if you think that somebody's not evolving, they're saying that's okay, because they're going to be here. First of all, they are evolving. They said everybody's evolving. Never look at somebody and say, oh, they don't know, they don't get it. No, they are experiencing what they need to experience. And in that experience, they are helping many within the world as well. Never put yourself or anybody else up on a pedestal. We're all, like I always see us all on the same plateau. We just move around. Like, oh, you're experiencing this here. Okay. Oh, yeah. Hey, I'm going to experience that. We're all moving around. So never put anybody up there. You know as much as we know. You have that within. It's a matter of tapping into that, allowing yourself to say, you know what? Yeah, I'm smarter than I think. My God, I'm a genius. Tracy does it. And I have done it. I'm like, I am so smart. Like, I'll tell you, honestly, I've always thought, like, this is crazy. I've always thought I was really stupid. Like, I'm like, I just don't know things in the world. I don't get it. Like, if you said to me, here's a map, Renae, show me where you are. I'm like, I have no clue. Like, really, I'm like, no clue. But they have said to me, you can't know because that limits you. You are everywhere. You can't. And I'm like, yeah, but in school, that would have helped a lot. But when when you started saying, I'm like, I'm like, I'm a genius. Like, I'm telling you, some things that come out, I'm like, oh, how did I know that? And they're like, you know everything. Everybody knows everything. You guys just tell yourself these stories. You have this internal dialogue that tells you you don't know, you can't do. And that's all been trained. It's all an energy that you've taken on. Now, oh, Tracy, I'm going to use the thing that we talked about. Yes.
Bringing the free thinking.
Yes.
I was like, perfect, Renae.
Yes. Do it.
You want
to talk about it?
Well, we were talking about freeing free thinking, and it speaks exactly to what Renae's saying, that literally from birth, we are, pick a word, shamed, discouraged, punished for free thinking. In school, if you don't, use the 1 + 2 = 3, not only are you wrong, you fail, you can't go to college. And a lot of these industries, I'll use a big one in medical, like, no, follow the diagram. If these symptoms present, these are the possible diagnoses, these are the possible procedures, solutions. And if you go out of that box, you're fired, you lose your license. I know in my businesses, if I don't follow the regulations, they shut me down. So we were having a conversation of how can anyone be a free thinker? You can barely function in this life if you don't follow the script. Well, we're here saying it. Stop following the script to your comfort level, to your, oh my goodness, this one, which is, again, challenging perhaps, but opportunistic. Oh my gosh, yes. And you do it at your level, even if it's in your mind. You can be in a conversation and everyone's saying their stuff, and I'm just talking in my mind going, all right, you can think that way. You don't even have to vocalize it.
Right.
Just kind of claim it for yourself. But oh my gosh, I'm going to reiterate, this year is going to be so fascinating. By the end of the year, it's going to be holy wazoozle, what happened?
Absolutely. And what I love about that whole thing is if you're talking to somebody, or you yourself, like, well, I have to see a doctor because, okay, own it. That's your truth. That's okay. We're not saying don't do that. Go ahead, do that. See your doctor, do whatever. Because to me, there's always a perfect union between the two. But have a conversation with your body. If I'm taking this in, and Tracy, I can't remember exactly how you do this, so I'll point to you for this. If you're taking a medication And we know there's a lot of side effects, there's a lot of stuff in that. You know you need to take that. Take it. Don't be like, oh hey, I'm gonna go off script. No, you need to follow what feels right to you. Eventually you'll get to that point. But Tracy, what do you do with the medications?
So I take, and you help me with this too. I bring it to my heart, and it's basically you go into the energy of the medicine and you re-alchemize it, no harm done. So I do believe what Renae just said. There's time and place that medicine is good, but what you want from the medicine is the purity. You want the pure essence and intent of why you're taking the medicine, and that is to bring you back into homeostasis. So you don't want the side effects. And as we know, so many energies can hitchhike onto anything. I don't care if it's an organic piece of fruit. There's a lot of energy hitchhikers around there. So, I don't want to get too tied up in, oh my God, you got to, test everything. But, you just set your morning. Allow the energies in that are for my highest good, but go into the medicine and you can really alchemize it. And I had to put flea medicine on my cat. I tried all the things. So that's what we were talking about. And I was like, well, I need the medicine. And I went in and I'm like, no harm done. Because that is the intent. The original intent of doctors and medicine is to do no harm. Now we have lost sight of that. So all you do is claim it back. I take that medicine, claim it back, do no harm. This is for the highest and best interest in good. Take what the body needs, and the rest just dissolves and fades away. It's that repulsion of energy. You repel what is not serving and with your intent of wholeness, and you bring in what the body needs. And it's okay. I mean, we're all, again, it's the journey and the exploration and the experience of getting there, which we already are there. So, another day. Remember our contradiction? We won't go into that one today, but that's a fun one. How you can be living two very potentially opposite concepts in the same moment. But I see. I spin off on 1,000 different stories.
No, that's good. No, to me, and I'm hoping with everybody else, it all ties in. It's all there. But what I want to clarify a little is when she's alchemizing it and doing that, then she'll take it. Like, right?
Yes.
Like,
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yes.
I didn't want them to think like, oh, she just infused it in. No, it says that, and takes it. And I
Yes.
because I'm sure you feel that difference. I'm sure you watch the difference. I mean, everything, out there, we have to start to bring back that natural, the true purpose, how they're saying it is we have to start to bring in the true purpose of things, because that's going to set us free. And the more that do it, again, you're not just doing a few. Every time she does that, every single person that is taking that same medication, just like when you did it with the flea medication. Okay, I'll use that as an example. When you did that I saw that the energy spread over to the world. So was everybody taking that particular brand? Oh, look, it's releasing all of these harmful effects for everybody else. Now, what they're saying is it does like, okay, so if you're doing that for people around the world, if somebody, whatever, a mile away has the belief, oh my God, this is gonna be so bad for my dog. Well, they're not gonna be able to take that energy into it. Yeah, the dog will, but the dog will have to, or the cat will have to abide by what this person is creating. Oh my God, it's going to be sick. It's going to do this. So the dog literally took in everything. Okay, yep, this is my husband's good. So no harmful effects here, but it has to play out for the person because that's their reality. So interesting, right? So pay attention. What is your reality? What's the internal dialogue you're having? And what is the dialogue you're having about your day, your life, every aspect of everything? Because they're saying this is the time now. The light has won. That's so cool, by the way, about the astrology, because I don't follow astrology either. Like, how crazy cool is that?
Yep.
Yeah. So the light has won, and let's move it forward. Let's go. Let's continue to carry it forward. Thus, the let's go talk show.
Let's go. Can I throw in something real quick on that point of two stories here? It was actually my mother-in-law was supposed to be on asthma medicine and heart medicine, or according to the doctors. Everyone knows asthma. If you don't have your inhaler, you're probably going to die if you can't get that rescue. I talked to my friend yesterday and she said her father has Alzheimer's and he has I don't know, bulging disc, something bone on bone, and really bad, like excruciating pain. And since his dementia has progressed, he has no pain. So, and we were saying how we wish that more doctors were curious because all of these potentially that's impossible scenarios. My mother-in-law hasn't taken asthma medicine in probably a year. What happened there? Did her asthma go away? Did she not need the medicine anymore? Did her brain not say, oh, I have asthma, I need this, therefore she didn't? Same thing with the pain. We were saying, gosh, this is the field that will be up and coming of let's ask some questions. Let's study this. How can you go from excruciating pain to, and he's not, I don't think he's doing this work, right? To what are you talking about? I'm not in pain. They're like, but your MRI says you're in excruciating pain. Did he forget? Like, it's going to get really fascinating.
Yes. Oh, that is so crazy cool. I love those kind of stories. I love that kind of stuff. That is,
Yeah. So, a lot of exciting stuff to be optimistic about.
yeah. And the doctors can't be curious. They'll get fired.
Exactly. Back to freeing the free thinking.
Yep.
They can't question it. No, this is what we do. Don't even say that. So,
Exactly. And I do know of, a couple like where I've gotten these questions from a couple of doctors of like, hey, what do you see with this? What do you do with this? So clearly outside of the realm of things, they're starting to think differently. I don't know how that's going to play out, if it's going to play out, but what I love is the conversation they're having with me because they're bringing that energy into their working with other people. So even if they can't verbalize something, the energy is surrounding them so that maybe that person, well, they're saying that person would, if they chose, to then seek the answers to, oh, wait a minute, I don't have to follow this. Or I'm following this, but I'm going to expand to this. Because they're saying the energy is starting to shift even within the medical field. And it's because so many people are bringing the energy into the medical field because, right, a lot of people are doing this, whatever this is, and waking up, right? A lot of people are doing this. So they're bringing the energy in there. So as the doctor's talking to them, a lot of it they're not hearing. The healers are saying they're not hearing it properly. And this goes to a conversation we had when we were doing When Pigs Fly, where you have the dialogue. It's totally, and then I say, well, what did you hear? Something completely different because we're hearing according to our mind and sometimes the heart. Now, what's a little bothersome to me is when they said sometimes the heart. I'm like, let's flip that script. Let's make it always the heart. And then if the mind needs to get involved, it can get involved. But let's go to the heart first. But isn't that crazy cool? Like how the energy is being brought into these fields, into the medical offices and into the hospitals and all that is starting to shift and change. And they're showing this big hospital and they're showing, people sitting in the waiting room. You know how the ER usually is, right? So that's the assumption I'm getting because it looks like it's the ER. Okay, so it's there and the energy swirling around and it's releasing that old magnetic field of this is the place of sickness. This is the place of death. This is the place where we're not really going to get our answers. We're not really good. Everything's going to be against me and against my body to shut my body down. And I didn't even know that was in there, but okay. So it's that piece of this starting to release for that. So think about that when you go to the doctor's office, you're listening to this conversation. Now look at the energy you're bringing in. If this resonates with you, look at the energy you're now bringing into every place you go. Plus, if you go to the doctors or, I got whatever, you're bringing that energy out into the world and it's expanding, it's going. Like I'm just watching everything just like fly through the whole world now. And if somebody can't take it in, again, it sort of bypasses them, but the energy still stays around them. So when they do get ready, they'll come right in. Like, how crazy cool is that? Like, I love this stuff.
and I just realized I always seem to bring in the medical because, again, full circle, it's really our body. We're doing this in body. And you know, most people have heard that, but for years, it's really bugged me that there's so much false dialogue around how miraculous the body is and that we need all of these things, and I even call out the stuff I love, even the supplements and the biohacking. But I think that's why I always am rooting for, fighting for, working with, emanating into the wholeness and health of the body, which extrapolates out into the medical field. And as you were saying that, Renae, I saw a ER, which is not an emergency room anymore because we really don't have that level of emergencies. It's an exploration room of, hey, look what's presenting in my body. Let's have a dialogue about why it could be, what it could be. Like, how cool would that be if we don't have emergency rooms? We have, the bridge of exploration rooms. Like, you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
you're
Let's
right.
create that, people. Let's go.
Yeah. And then we don't even need an exploration room. Then it's just like, how do you fly? What's your technique? Which again is probably an exploration room, but it's the progression of. So, and then I say, you know what? Put the thought, like just us having this conversation, everyone listening, seeds that thought of the next step of evolution of what the medical system looks like.
Oh my God. Awesome. Oh my God. I love this. I love that. Again, we hit all sorts of things. My mind is like, if you got anything else? Because I think that's
We're at saturation point.
well, you are too. But so I mean, I'm still like going off on the Egypt thing and the energy of the pyramid. I'm like, wait, what?
And I guess on that note, I would encourage everyone, because some people say, well, how does your brain go in all these directions? And it's because if you think about that, like just think for a minute, go back 500 years. Every single thing we have that are all our points of safety and procedure did not exist. Yet life happened. Right? The pyramids were built. Like, go to Europe and look at the phenomenal construction. How did that happen? They didn't have architects and engineers and all the programming. So, and then you touch into like, we don't need the majority of the garbage that we have.
Yeah, interesting. Well, they did say what, beginning of this year, the end of last year, that this is the year. So if you're finding yourself cleaning out a lot of stuff, said this is the year that people will start to get rid of things, recognizing I don't need this cup. This is like, so if you're doing that big deep cleanse that I've done, I know you've done it, Tracy, as
Hey,
well.
canvas.
Yeah, exactly. Plugging into a new energy, new field. That if you're doing that, that's why, because it's that whole thing. We're really coming into this energy, this field, this frequency, which is they're saying new and old at the same time. And old meaning billions of years ago,
Yes.
when we had the ability to, oh, you know what? I think not that you would have thought this way back then. I think I need a glass of water. And then all of a sudden it appears. And that might be just, keep your mind open, expanding. Oh, I'm going to create this. And all of a sudden, you're creating it. And it's very easy and very effortless. So you don't need all the tools and the things that you think you do. Continue to communicate with your body. Let your body continue to communicate with whoever. I call them the healers, the powers that be. I got so many different names because it's a collective. Don't tap in, and they're saying you can. If you've got somebody in particular you work with, Archangel Michael, whatever, go ahead, do that. But keep your mind open to bring in a collective of all of those of pure love and pure light. That's what I've always done. And it just continues to expand. So when somebody's talking to you, all of a sudden you get that answer, you get that thing, because you're not just communicating with one particular being. Because I remember once I asked Archangel Michael something because he was my guy, and he said, well, I can give you that answer, but I'm not really the best person. I'm like, you're an angel, of course you are. And he was like, yeah, no, Ariel's best for that. It must have been something with love, right? Ariel's best for that. It's like, what? Like that's like, blew my mind. And then it was always like, okay, whoever can help me with this. And even now, it's all a collective that come in as like, one. You see them all communicating, telepathically, and then it comes in. So keep your mind open, Remember, this is a no judgment place. You got questions, you've got comments, throw them in there. We want to hear. We want you to be a piece and a part of our conversations. And again, we'll eventually be opening it up to like, let's everybody get on Zoom and like ask your generalized questions. We're really looking for the generalized to help humanity and to help everybody shift and change. So if you've got something that's, going on with you personally, sort of look at it from a bigger picture and see if you can put it into a generalized term, because if you're going through it, a lot of other people are going through it. So do it more of a generalized, what do you do? And we'll answer. And that's what this is all about. What do you got,
Yeah.
Tracy?
Let's go.
I love it. I love it. All right, everybody, if you like this conversation, be sure to subscribe, hit the like button and put the bell, the notification on so you get notified when another one drops. And from that, we will see you next time.